Welcome to the Weekly Social. Today we're here with Priscilla with Select Title. We also have Troy Sterbling with H-Town Bookkeeping. Thanks for tuning in. This is all about our local community here in the Katy, Fulshear, Richmond area. Last week we checked out a new restaurant called The Local Table that just opened up over there in Cinco Ranch.
Yeah, they took over the old Luebeck's in Fuddrucker spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how was your meal there?
It was amazing, as always. I mean, the food at Local Table is, always fresh, and their food is just, I don't think I've ever eaten anything there that I didn't like.
The sweet potato fries, one of my favorites, and I ate all of them last week.
Yes.
I also had the Philly cheesesteak.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have, Priscilla?
Oh, I had a salad that was amazing with Brussels sprouts and chicken. It was,
And it's farm to table type food. So if you haven't been to the Local Table, please check it out. Troy, you didn't get to go with us last week.
Man, I feel like I missed out on a lot now. And being a fat guy, I love fresh food like that. So I can't wait to give it a shot.
Yeah, it's literally right around the corner from where we're at today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Have you checked out any new restaurants in Katy lately?
Actually, yeah. Yesterday, right over here in La Centera, there was a new place opening up called the Crack Shack, and it's a place. I think I want to say they started out in California. They have about 8 locations total right now, and they are nice, thick, just meaty, juicy chicken breast. And they have homemade bread that they put it on for their sandwiches with all kinds of crazy chef-inspired sauces and fries and sides. It was really, really good. So I can't wait to go back there and eat there again.
Oh, that sounds really good.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think their official grand opening is today, actually. So they had their soft opening yesterday. And so today should be their grand opening, so you should go by and check them out.
Awesome. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Priscilla, is there anything new that you've seen happen since we did this last week?
Oh, my goodness. Not off the top of my head, Richard.
No, way to put you on the
I
spot.
know. I was going to say I'm starting to enjoy these. Which you've gotten me out of my comfort zone, and but I'm really starting to look forward to them, and so that's a major accomplishment.
Well, we're moving into tax season. That's why we brought Troy on with H-Town Bookkeeping. So there's lots of questions, a lot of buzz going on about what to do with all the new stuff that's changed from 22 to 23, which I personally don't know any of those changes.
Don't want to. I want to go to the expert.
I tell you what, even those of us in the field, you're still waiting around January, mid-February, just trying to see the little tweaks and little twists and turns they have for us coming out of Congress. So we do have some idea of some stuff that has been changed, and I actually wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget.
Awesome.
So I don't want to seem rude here, but I am going to refer to my notes here.
Sure.
But one of the big things that changed this year is the child tax credit. So in 2021, they actually increased it to $3,600 per child.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it went back down this year. So for the 2022 season, it actually went back down to $2,000.
Oh wow.
So it took quite a big hit. So if you're used to getting those big refunds for your child, those took a step back this year, and you won't see quite as much on your return for the child tax credit. So it went down to $2,000. If you make less than $200,000 a year single, $400,000 married, you get $2,000 per child instead of that $3,600.
Okay.
So that was one major change, and then that is for children up to 16 years of age. So if your child is 17 or any other dependent you may have, if you're helping out, some older moms and dads, if you're helping them out as dependents, you're only getting a $500 credit for them this year. So they kind of stuck it to us on that one this year.
So what was it before?
So last year you could get up to $1,000. So it actually went back down to $500 for your other dependents this
So
year.
tell us the good stuff. Is there some?
We want some good news.
Yeah. Are there some other ones that for all of us has increased?
So the regular standard deductions that you can take actually went up this year. So single and married filing separately, if you're using that one,
Okay.
the standard deduction went to $12,950, whereas last year it was $12,500. So it went up by $400.
Okay.
If you're filing head of household, that went to $19,400, which is about a $600 increase over last year. And then if you're filing, if you're married filing jointly, that went up to $25,900. So that was about an $800 increase. So they did give us a little bit there, although we took a step back on the child care. But there's a
So more across the board,
right?
kind of for everyone versus just. I guess that's how they're kind of looking at it as making up for it.
Right, I suppose so. I'm not really sure how the government looks at things. I'm just here to report the facts, unfortunately.
Don't shoot the messenger, right?
That's right. Please don't shoot the messenger. I will point out, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can contribute into your IRA up until April 18th. So
Okay.
that will help offset some of your tax from last year, because IRAs are non-taxable. So any money that you put into it, you won't be taxed on that. So you have up until April 18th to max out your contributions. So if you just put a little bit in there over the year because it was a tough year, if you have some income you want to try to offset, you can contribute to that IRA until April 18th for last year's taxes.
That's great advice.
And if you don't have an IRA, you can actually set one up within a day or two with a professional. So get with your financial planner and have them set you up an IRA if you don't have one. And then your max contribution is $6,000.
Okay, and
So
that's
you can
pre-tax.
That's pre-tax.
Okay.
So you can put in up to $6,000. If you're over the age of 50, you get an additional $1,000 as a makeup for starting later in life,
Sure.
and so you can contribute up to $7,000.
Oh, wow.
So if you're looking to offset some of your taxes and you don't have an IRA, you can get one of those started fairly early. As long as you do it before April 18th, it'll count for last year.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is good news.
So lots of changes since last year. That's some great insight. Typically people have questions. What's the number one question that you hear in your field?
Basically kind of what we just talked about. What are the most deductions that I can get? and so
we like the subtraction button.
That's right. We want to subtract everything that we can. So there's not a whole lot you can do as far as if you're a W-2 employee. There are a few deductions you can take here and there, but those standard deductions are usually more beneficial than trying to itemize everything.
Yes.
Because you can only get one or the other, right? So either you itemize everything or you take the standard deduction. So 9 times out of 10, it's usually more effective to just take the standard than try to sit there and itemize everything. Now, if you're a small business owner, you're LLC, S Corp, C Corp, then you have a lot more deductions that you can include, including home office deductions that a lot of people ask about. And so I always tell people, make sure you talk with your tax professional, whether it's your CPA, whether it's your bookkeeper, whether it's your tax guy, and find out where you can maximize those deductions. And don't just Google it. Go out there and actually talk to somebody who's in the industry that can give you advice face to face.
And do some research.
Right?
Your office is only a certain percentage of the size of your
Correct.
home.
That's correct.
And then your overhead, you're only allowed a certain percentage to that overhead.
That is
because
correct.
of the size of the office.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people under the misconception, well, my office run, if I leased an office, would be $5,000 a month. My mortgage is only $4,000 a month, so I can write off the whole mortgage.
Right.
So
that's not how that works at all. Yeah, you're right. It's based on the square footage of the home versus your home office space.
Right.
And there are some reasonable expectations to the size of your office. So you can't claim your entire downstairs as your home office and deduct 2,000 square feet of your 4,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
That's not a reasonable deduction. That would be a red flag, which we want to stay away from. So there are some rules and regulations you want to look at and make sure you abide by.
But yeah, again, get with a tax professional.
That's correct.
Somebody that really knows what you need to do to maneuver, whether it's a tax attorney, that little bit of money that you pay for the consultation.
Yeah.
Will save you thousands in the future.
Now, here's
Sure.
something going back to the local table in the restaurants we were just talking about. You'll like this one a lot.
Okay.
So last year, the rules for business meals and entertainment, you could write off 50% of your meals and entertainment. This year, you're allowed to write up 100% of meals that were bought from a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
So if you have your receipts and you're doing business with a client or a customer or another business professional, you can write off 100% of your meals.
Wow.
So that's a good
That's
increase.
big, yeah.
So that's a good one.
That's
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Because I do a lot of entertaining with clients, and I'm sure you do
Yes,
too.
sir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, talk with your tax professional to make sure you get all the deductions that you can, especially on that meal since that changed this year.
Oh, that's cool.
No, that's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
So, what do you think we're going to see this year? You know, what are the big questions, and how do I make sure that, you know, IRS doesn't audit my tax return?
Well, you know, the cool thing about being business owners are there are a lot of deductions that we can take.
Mhm.
And again, that's why I always suggest that you go talk with a professional about that, because everybody's business is a little bit different.
Right.
And so you want to sit down and make sure that the things that you claim are not causing any red flags. So the most of the time when somebody gets audited, it is because something is out of the ordinary from what they normally see. So if you're in real estate, they're going to look at your tax return in relation to all the other real estate tax returns that they see. And so
Okay.
if your business, let's say your meals and entertainment is 25% of your deduction, they're gonna look and see, well, the average is 18%, why are you higher? So you want to make sure that you're in line with the average for your profession. And so that's why I suggest talking with a professional, because they can help you figure out what the sweet spot is and make sure you stay within those, because you're only allowed so many deductions anyway.
Plus
Right?
to
They're
kind of
gonna
know,
have caps on things.
kind
So
of know also where, you know, like budgeting or something for this year, so that you kind of know where to budget that
Correct.
in,
correct.
because you
So
know
you're not
that's what
wasting
you're
money.
going to be your
Yeah.
write-off amount.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of working with a professional bookkeeper, working with a CPA, working with a tax professional. That's where their expertise comes in and helping you with your business plan, because then you can schedule those things out and have an idea of what your budget, your monthly budget looks like.
Yeah.
And when your books are reconciled correctly and things are in QuickBooks or any other program that you use, then you know those numbers are accurate, and then you can make a good business decision going forward.
Mentioning QuickBooks, is QuickBooks still one of the
It's
the
probably
go-tos?
it's the elephant in the room, right? I think probably 80% of my clients use QuickBooks.
Okay.
Are they using online or the desktop version?
So the desktop version is actually slowly going away, and it's going to the online version, just because QuickBooks wants that monthly
They
revenue.
want the same.
That's
And
correct.
let me tell you,
That's
my
correct.
dad has been one of those that's done QuickBooks forever, and he had to go in and do the online.
Yeah,
He, you know, it wasn't comfortable for him. He
Right.
liked it being on his desktop, but
well,
It is
I
what it
will
is.
tell you, it makes as a professional in the industry, it makes it a lot easier for us to do business with clients who are on QuickBooks Online, because we have access to it from our office.
yeah.
Whereas when you're using the desktop version, you have to transfer your data back and forth. So you have to save your QuickBooks on a little
Right.
thumb drive.
Yeah.
Right.
Send it over to me. We do our work and send it back to you, and then you have to re-upload that. So it is kind of a pain, and online is so much easier, and
Right.
it's actually very safe and secure with a lot of the. I'm not an IT guy, So I don't know the security protocols they have in place, but
Right.
it's very, very well done. So you don't have to worry about anybody hacking into your accounts and changing anything.
That's cool. That's good stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
So, you talked about some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
What other insights do you have for us?
So I have been getting a lot of questions here recently because of I'm not a social media guy. TikTok. There's some
Okay.
stuff that pops up on TikTok. A lot of accountants and tax professionals have been talking about the Augusta rule. And
I've never heard of that.
oh, really? Okay, it's a
I
big
have
thing
not.
going around social media, and it is a good law that you can use. It's kind of a loophole you can use for writing off some expenses for your business and saving some money on your personal tax at the same time for business owners. So I did write down a little bit of information on that just to share with people. So what it allows you to do is to rent out your personal home to your business as a business deduction. So you, as the business owner, let's say you were going to rent a meeting space for a conference or
Sure.
for something like that, you can in turn instead rent out your home for that purpose. And so
Okay.
your business gets to pay you personally for the use of that home for the office meeting, but you don't have to claim that as income on your personal tax. So you get the business deduction for writing off a business expense, but you're not having to pick up that money as income on your personal tax.
Right, where if you're writing off or paying rent to yourself on your office, that on your personal home office, that
Right.
becomes personal income, correct?
That is correct. And so there are a bunch of, that is a loophole that you can use. However, again, talk to a professional because there are some caveats to that, as there always
I'm
is.
sure.
And if you're taking home office deductions, then you would not be able to use this Augusta tax rule.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
And it's only allowed for 14 days out of the entire year. So you can rent out your location for up to 14 days, but on that 15th day, if you do it for a 15th day, then it becomes like an Airbnb and it's rental income, and now you have to pay tax on all of that.
I see.
So there are some caveats to being able to use that. It is effective for some people, but it's not something that you can apply across the board to everyone.
You know, Airbnbs, that's another thing that's kind of a misnomer out there. People really don't know how to surf through that.
Yeah.
My experience on the real estate side is that if you're in a high tourist area, it works well.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of a neighborhood, say in Cinco Ranch, kind of odd.
Yeah.
Because most people don't come to where we're at to go on vacation
Right,
unless
right.
they're visiting friends and family.
Right.
So,
Well, unless maybe you've got a really unique experience for them to have.
That's
a lot of HOAs, because all this came about after the deeds, covenants, and restrictions were written years ago, are
Okay.
actually going through and re-underlining them and rewriting them to prohibit Airbnbs.
Yeah, you really need to check with
Oh,
your
wow. Check with
HOA
that.
before you
That's
do
correct.
it, because it could be a restriction now, because you're right. I've seen that happen quite a few. I actually have a client right now that is, actually we need to talk about that. They need to sell their home that they purchased because they bought it with the intent of using it for an Airbnb,
And it's
and the
prohibited.
HOA is prohibited, so now they don't know what to do with the property.
Oh, wow. I know a great real estate
I
broker.
happen to know one too. So I'll get
Great
in
place
touch
to
with
close
them.
it at,
Yeah,
too.
no,
Yes.
that was,
Yes.
I'm glad we had that
Yes.
conversation
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. You really have to watch those HOAs now when it comes to doing stuff like the Airbnbs.
So if somebody does have an Airbnb and they've got that, can you help them with the bookkeeping, all that?
Oh, of course.
And help
Yeah,
them get through that to know, to have it all ready to
absolutely.
do on
absolutely.
your income tax.
My particular business, we help the small to medium-sized companies. We are.
That's
there's-
80% of America right there.
There's no long-term contracts. I'm a month-to-month service.
Okay.
And I like to say our business is kind of a la carte. So you pick and choose the services that you need us to do, and we'll do as much or as little as you need help with. So
with like a rental property, Airbnb, all of that, can you help them with setting up an LLC and doing those things too?
right. So I don't help with the actual formation of the company. I do work with some great business lawyers who can help us with that. But as far as setting up your
Structure that before you buy the house, because if you buy it personally
Correct.
and then you convert it into an LLC,
Correct.
that could be a due on sale clause with the lender.
True.
yeah.
So
True.
That's a good
again,
point.
make sure you do research
Okay.
before you do that.
Yeah. So once you have all that set up, and even if you don't decide to go with like an S Corp or C Corp, you're just going to do a Schedule C and just rent out your property, I can help you set up some form of management system, whether it's QuickBooks or Waze or some Excel spreadsheet, however
Okay.
you want to keep track of those expense. We can definitely help set that up as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got a lot of value going on there.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
We tried.
Yes.
I want to touch one more thing on HOAs that a lot of people don't realize is that they run businesses out of their house and they list them on Google.
Yes. I always
That's an
suggest.
SFR, single family
Yes.
residence that is not zoned for commercial. And again, I
It'll
would
get you.
A lot of them, they find you at 123 Banana Street,
Mhm.
and there you are in their neighborhood operating a commercial business.
Even if you have a P.O. box on your business address, if you don't update your Google listing with that instead of how you form the company and it's at your personal residence, your personal residence will still show up on Google. So you might have somebody knocking on your door asking you, hey, what's going on with my tax return? Come by my office, man. Come by my house. No, but that's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Even though you may have a P.O. box set up, you need to make sure that it's listed correctly in Google. Otherwise, it'll show up on Google Maps that that's your residence, and then you run into problems with HOA.
Right.
Right.
So
Wow.
a lot of moving parts to being a local business owner.
It
Yes.
is. That's why you have to contact the professionals in both real estate and on the accounting side.
Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-mm.
And there's a ton of stuff that I still learn as well.
Well, and we have to count on those professionals and trust in those and not try to be all of, know it all and you
Right.
can't.
There's
You know, and so that's why this is so important to know and just know who your resource is to go to.
Well, case in point, yesterday I got an inquiry from an investor that wants to buy properties here locally. He's a relocation person
Mhm.
and he wants to pay with cryptocurrency.
Oh, that's a whole nother
That's a
ball of wax. to
whole
get
different
into.
ball of wax.
And that was a great conversation because I was able to answer that, there have been a property sold in the state of Texas with crypto. And so it can be done. HAR is not set up to show in there
As
that
form of
it's
payment, we don't see that. We
Right.
see cash, VA, seller financing. There is a box for
FHA,
other.
convention.
However, but it doesn't state cryptocurrency.
Right. So, but it's something that we can work through and with the resources and people that we know and figure out how to make it happen.
So it can be done. It's just a matter of getting through all the hurdles to make it as seamless as possible for that client.
Yeah,
So I look forward to working through that with you.
I love that.
Me too. And
Mhm.
hopefully we're the first one in Houston, Texas to put this together.
I like it. Let's do it.
Yep, absolutely.
Mhm.
So, there's never a problem, only a solution. And your life gets a lot easier when you start looking at it like that.
Yes, sir.
Actually, that's what I do is I solve problems, whether they're wanting to buy a property or sell a property or rent. It's a problem we have to solve it for.
Or an investor that needs to make sure all the books are right and
Right.
do all those things that you've got.
Well, you guys have probably run across this. If you're a small business owner and you don't have a P&L that you can print out and take to the bank, it's hard to get funding and lending for buying a home. And so that's where someone like myself can come in and help them put that information in together and organize it so that the bank can understand what type of income you have and that you can actually afford the loan.
For a mortgage, huge. I have to have that. For a line of credit, again, same
Yeah.
thing. If you don't,
If you take your Excel spreadsheet down to the bank, they're probably going to laugh at you. So that's where you need to come to a professional, let us help you organize it, put it in a package that they can understand, and then you can get your financing.
yeah. And don't write your income down to $20,000 a year, or $500,000 a year.
Right. Try to save on the tax, but
Because
then
you're
you
writing
can't afford to
everything
buy
off,
anything.
right?
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's another.
There is a
common
little
problem.
give and take there that we need to discuss.
You
for
have to
sure.
show that you can service that debt, not.
That's right.
Yes. Oh, wow. That's crazy, but that's so true. And we've seen several of those.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
And it goes from being pre-approved to not being pre-approved because unfortunately some lenders will take it off of a verbal that a certain person made X amount, but once they get the P&Ls and all the
And the
tax
tax
returns,
returns,
the last 2
yes.
years' tax returns, it shows $20,000, and now that $500,000 home is out the window.
Right.
Right.
It happens all the time because as business owners, you're always trying to reduce your tax liability as low as you can get it. But what that hurts you is an improving income for being able to handle debt.
Right.
So there is a give and take on what you should take as far as deductions versus what you show in as income.
Yeah, it's off the net, not the gross, and that a lot of people don't understand it's not gross.
Right.
So, but
Turns out to be pretty gross sometimes.
as soon as I find out somebody's self-employed, the first thing I do is get them with the lender. We got to look at your last 2 years' tax return,
Yeah.
and I'm doing that to protect them because you don't want to be under contract. You don't want it breaking out. I mean, you're talking thousands
You
of
get
dollars.
to close and then you can't close.
Oh yeah, and it not only disrupts that person's family, but typically the seller, they're using those proceeds to buy the next one,
Right.
and it's a huge domino effect that affects
Absolutely.
multiple lives. So I'm trying to be proactive and stop that before we jump into that rabbit hole.
Right. Right. So what are you seeing in real estate going on right now?
Things are heating back up. I read a report earlier this week. Last year there was a little over 4 million homes closed here in the U.S. They're forecasting we're going to break over 5 million this year.
Yes.
So last weekend I was at multiple different builders, and I'll name a couple of them because I work with all of them. I was
Right.
at D.R. Horton, I was with Perry, I was at Legend Homes, and I can tell you that there was multiple families there. I was at D.R. Horton at 9:45, knowing that they open at 10, thinking I'll be the first one there. Me, I'm a morning person. There was 6 families sitting in the parking lot at opening.
Wow.
So, and they were there with protest signs. They were there to buy real estate, so that's great. So, everything that we've been experiencing since June 15th of last year, I believe that the J curve, we're finally on the upward trajectory of
Right.
that. So, that window that I've said in videos over the last few months of, hey, we have between the first quarter, the end of, and the second quarter, I think that window of opportunity is shortening. To realistically maybe 60 to 90 days for the buyers out there. So if you're seriously considering purchasing a home this year, I highly recommend that you reach out to us or another real estate professional and look at maybe accelerating it in this time frame. Because the other thing that I'm noticing is that all the incentives that the builders have out there right now, they are scaling them back because demand's going up.
Okay.
So they're pulling the incentives. And then once it hits that frenzy again, and that's what they're forecasting, all the incentives will go away. It'll be a full seller's market again. You're going to pay 50 grand over asking or 25
Right.
grand over asking, waive concessions. So right now is a great time to buy at or just below market value. You can take advantage of some of the incentives that the builders are offering out there. The sellers are working with you in regards to repairing stuff, closing costs, paying title policy. There's so many moving parts to a transaction. I can't cover it all in a 30-minute window.
Right.
So again, you need a professional.
Well, I've also had people say, and I'm sure you've heard it too, Richard, what about the interest rates? And one of the things that I've always heard from professionals is, you know, there's never a bad time to buy your forever home. And you're marrying the house, but you date the rate.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So even though interest rates might be a little higher than we like it, it may only be for a year or two, and when those interest rates come back down, you can refinance, but at least you're in the home that you want to be in.
What? Rent is 100% interest.
Exactly.
You're going to pay a mortgage. Do you want to pay your landlord's mortgage or do you want to pay your own mortgage?
Correct.
And like you
So
said,
don't let those interest rates scare you from going out there and buying the home that you want to get.
and then if you're paying $50,000 over, how much interest is that?
Exactly.
How long does that take you to get back to being in the chips on market value?
Oh, that's very true.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, in the heyday, I ran the math backwards. Property values were going up on average $7,500 a month back then. I don't see it scaling that much because property values went up 35% in about 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, it was a drastic
It
increase.
was huge. I don't see that, but I do see the highest and best and the over, and I see a 3% gain this time because I don't see how the property values can sustain that.
Right.
So,
Wow.
And I could be wrong. That's just my professional opinion. But yeah, take advantage of the market that we're in now because it is going to heat back up. It is going to take back off. It's already starting. Consumer
I can't
confidence
believe
is
that there
back.
were already 6 people there ahead of you.
I
at
know.
9:45.
So much for sleeping in. You gotta get out there.
Well, I was up at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. Well, you got
Yeah.
me.
I'm in the 5 a.m. club.
Right, right. So that's unbelievable, but good to hear and know about so that you know what's going on and so that, you know,
You can make an informed decision.
yes.
Absolutely.
This is all about bringing value to our local community and the people that are looking at coming to our community. Troy, if they want to connect with you and they have bookkeeping questions, what's the best way that they can contact you?
Well, I appreciate it. You can go to my website. It's www.htownbooks.com. My cell phone number is 832-888-3399. I've had that
Listen
number
to
for
that.
like 17 years.
Wow.
I'm
He
never getting
gave
rid
you
of it.
a cell number.
Yes, that is my personal cell phone number. Call me anytime. I'm one of the few people that if I don't answer your phone call, I will text or call you back as soon as I can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tell me
That's
how many
huge.
other accounting professionals are going to do that without not
5
calling you.
p.m., the phones are shut off, it goes to voicemail,
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
and it's
uh-huh.
tomorrow morning.
Right.
Or
don't
you
get
can
there.
reach out via email, which is just my name, Troy, Troy, at htownbooks.com.
I love that.
And Priscilla, if they have any title questions or need a place to close,
Yes.
what's the best way to connect with you?
So Select Title, we are here on West Harmon Parkway in Katy. Call us at 832-356-3235 is our office. My cell is 832-372-2777. And you can email us at katyteam@select-title.com, and that goes to everybody here in the office, so all of us can respond. And we're here to answer any questions. We know y'all work 24/7, and so that's why I always give out my cell number too, so that
Right there with you.
you're.
And she does answer and respond on weekends. I can attest to that for years.
And so just reach out, even if it's not a deal with us and you have a question, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll answer anything we can.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. If you have any real estate questions, you can reach us at redlionrealtygroup.com or you can call me on my cell, 832-646-2886. Thanks. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.